have a great call here this morning, so I'd like to welcome you to our monthly coaching calls. Now, remember the purpose of these coaching calls is to keep you moving forward so that you are using what you learned at the Marketing Mastery Seminar and you're making regular progress. Also, to make sure that you avoid feeling isolated, like you're the only person out there trying to build a marketing-driven real estate career. Next, the purpose of these calls is to make sure that you're holding yourself accountable so that you're making the progress you want to make and achieving the goals you set for yourself in the year ahead. Finally, to give you new ideas, some inspiration, and different things to make sure that you're moving forward. My normal start is to start with a couple of books this month, and I want to recommend two books this month. One of them I think is an absolutely must-read for everybody, and it's called Tattoos on the Heart. Now, the subtitle is The Power of Boundless Compassion. And I will tell you, this book will inspire you, it will make you grateful for what you have, and the best thing about it is that it will help you see the humanity in everybody you meet. In fact, I think this is one of the best books I've ever read at fighting prejudice in any form. Whether it's sexual preference, male, female, whatever it is. Because it gets us to look beyond people. And this book was written by I'm trying to think of exactly how to describe him, a interesting, father, Gregory Boyle. And he's the priest at a mission in downtown Los Angeles that serves the gang members. And he says the best way to reach and help gang members is to treat them like human beings, treat them like they are deserving of our respect. And it's interesting, he tells some stories that are incredibly powerful, and it really got me to look at little ways of treating people consistently. And it will make a huge difference, so I strongly recommend this book. The next book I want to recommend is a little book called Salt, Sugar, and Fat. And it's just a little book on health. And I found that it's hard to succeed if you don't have energy. And this is a great book to get you to think about your own health, about some of the things that you might want to do. And I will tell you, it'll give you energy to go out there and achieve your goals if you just make sure that you maintain a little bit of health personally and professionally for what you're doing. And I will tell you, the book can be a little hard at times. You realize that you've got to be a little bit more careful in what you're eating, but I really believe that in the long run, it'll make a huge difference for you. As always, I love your feedback about the books I recommend, and you can get my book list, my recommended books on my Facebook page or my Pinterest page on a consistent, regular basis. And I'm always looking for great books that people recommend to me. As most of you know, I try and read at least a book a week, and I'm always looking for great books that can make a difference. So now, for the topic of the day it's the end of February. And my real question for you is this: are you moving forward? Are you making progress towards your goals for 2014? And are you really on track for achieving the goals you set for yourself this year? Now, a lot of times people say, well, Greg, it's just February. It's just 2 months in. Are we really need to be checking already? I just set my goals, in December and January. But here's the reality. What you have to do is make sure that you're making reasonable progress in reasonable time. And this is really important. This is one of the things that Jim Rohn taught me. He said you've got to check on a consistent basis on how you're doing, because it's important to check on your progress regularly. See, if you have a bad year, it's made up of 12 bad months, or more bad months than good months. And you should know that fairly early. So we're 2 months into the year, 1/6 of the way, and so it's important to ask yourself, well, gosh, am I 1/6 of the way towards my goals? Or have I put in place the things that are going to make a bigger summer. And if we don't check now, what happens is we'll find ourselves halfway through the year and not halfway to our progress, and it's hard to correct. And so it's important right now to look and say, okay, we're 2 months in. How is my progress? And am I making progress towards those goals? The key is to remember that you need to take small daily steps towards your goal. This is the key to making progress. It's just one step at a time. It's, are you moving forward, doing the little things each and every day? And I think sometimes we get caught up looking for some big, massive thing we can do. But it's just taking a step. It's just, what's the next little thing I can do? Always ask yourself, what's the next action step that I can do today? And if you break it down to little bite-sized pieces, it's so much easier to make regular, consistent progress. If you don't look at it that way, it's easy to let the whole year go by, and all of a sudden you say, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. It's November, and I didn't come close to achieving my goals. Well, I should have caught that back in February, made the adjustments. And that's really important. Now, you can check too often. If your manager says, have you made any sales today? Have you done any prospecting today? And you say no, and 5 minutes later, hey, have you prospected yet? See, that's too fast. But if your manager waits till the end of the month, it's probably too long. So what you have to do is say, for each thing I need to be checking on, what's a reasonable amount of time to make sure that I'm checking in on progress? When you have a baby, you weigh the baby on a regular basis to make sure the baby's growing. So you say, we'll weigh the baby at the end of the year. See, but if you wait until the end of the year and the baby's lost weight, it's too late. So what you have to do is make sure that you're checking fairly consistently. Now, this is also a great time to check and make sure that you have totally gotten over your PTRD. Now, PTRD is a disease that I have found is affecting a lot of realtors, and it's called post-traumatic recession disorder. And the marketplace last year was good and solid. The marketplace in 2014 is going to be good and solid. The marketplace next year is going to be absolutely fabulous. And what you have to do is realize the next 5 years are going to be an extraordinary set of 5 years in real estate. It's going to be one of those upward trends, and you need to take advantage of it. But I found that so many agents are still suffering from PTRD that they can't move forward. They're overcautious. They aren't willing to invest, try new things. They aren't willing to do the things that are necessary to set up the incredible opportunities of the next 5 years. And what's going to happen is this. Yes, they're going to do better. They're going to make a decent living, but they won't capitalize on it in the way they should. In fact, the new people that are coming in right now that don't remember the recession will do so much better because they'll think, oh, this is a normal marketplace. This is what it should look like. And I want you to make sure that you get over this completely. Now, there's a couple of things that you can do to help this. First of all, I want you to get rid of all excuses. Remember that every time you make an excuse, you're giving your power away. You're justifying something that you don't need to. And so just stop giving up excuses for anything. And I found this is not only a great thing to do for your real estate career, it'll help in your professional life, in your personal life, in relationships with your spouse, the significant others in your life. So just stop giving excuses for anything, and it will make a huge difference. For those of you that remember the seminar, I talk about this a lot. You've also got to give up all complaining, especially complaining about how difficult the marketplace has been, how challenging it's been, how hard it was for you to get through. I want you to give up all those complaints. I want you to know complaining never inspires anybody. I still remember the time Jim sat me down and he looked at me and he said, Greg, I hear you complaining about things. And he said, Greg, let me ask you, at the end of one of your complaint sessions, when you complained about anything, Has anybody ever come up to you and said, uh, thank you so much for that complaint. That was just inspiring. It just really had a positive impact on my life. I want to thank you for it. And I still remember looking at him and saying, well, probably not. And he said, well, Greg, if complaining doesn't inspire people, it doesn't make people want to get better, why would you ever do it? And he said, the worst part about it is that it gives you excuses. It makes you feel justified, and it will slow down your ability to take action. And so what I want you to do is spend your time figuring out how you can make it work. Look for reasons it will work and instead of reasons it won't work. And that makes such a huge difference. And if you will start looking for all the reasons, all the opportunities, develop that positive sort of mental outlook, looking for how to make it work, you cannot believe the progress you can make. Now, people say, well, Greg, how hard should I work? Well, the good Lord suggested 6 days labor. And if you read the good book, it said 6 days labor, 1 day less rest. Now, we've got it down to 5 and 2. And, I have a feeling that's probably okay. But always ask yourself, if you're not doing and making the progress you want to do, should you work a little harder? Now, I don't ever suggest working 7 days a week. You got to take a day off to recharge. But I think some people make rest an objective, not a necessity. When you take your time off, it should be to recharge. It should be to refurnish because you've given so much effort. I don't know if you've been watching the Olympics, but I love the effort. Grew up in Wyoming, so I'm a big cross-country fan. And I don't know if you've noticed any of the cross-country ski races. When they come in at the end, they have given 100% of what they've given. I mean, they put it all on the line. That's what you want to do when you're at work. Now, when you're away from work, when you're with your family, rest. Don't talk about work. Don't check your email. Don't do those things. Be present there. But make sure that you're putting in the effort, the time. Don't just go to work and say, well, gosh, let me check my email. Let me watch some YouTube videos and spin your wheels. Go to work. So that work is work. And you're making progress towards your goals. Now, give 100%, then go home and give 100% to your home. And this will make such a huge difference. Some people say, well, Greg, 5-2, let's keep going that way. What about 4-3? Well, once you are really successful, 4-3 is probably not a bad option. Once you've got it up there and you say, gosh, for me, the priorities are other things besides maximizing my thing. But even then, if you're working 2 days, 3 days a week, give those 2 or 3 days 100% of your effort. And this makes such a huge difference at your priority. It's when you don't really work when you're working, and you don't really invest fully in your family when you're with your family. You go in and you say, well, we watched TV together last night. That's not exactly what I call quality time. You got to make sure that you're doing things that really make a difference. Remember that your activity shows your true priorities. And this can be hard for us to really take at times. But this is the truth. If you say, gosh, I've been doing that, I want to do this, I want to do this, and 3-4 weeks in, you haven't taken action, then you need to say, well, gosh, maybe I should stop talking about it because it doesn't really show your priority. If it's a priority, you're going to take action. You're going to see the productivity. So many people say, well, it's a priority for me to take care of myself, to exercise, to eat right. As they're eating a bowl of ice cream. See, that's not quite right. If you say health is a priority, if you say saving money is a priority, if you say building your wealth plan, building your real estate career is a priority, building your brand, and you haven't done your brochure questionnaire, then you got to say, well, maybe I need to reevaluate my priorities. Now, I'm not saying what's right or wrong. That's up to you to decide. But if you say something is a priority, make sure that your action is matching the priority. And that's really important. As a manager, your job is to help people see, gosh, what are my priorities? What do I want to do? And now just be a mirror that reflects, okay, are you making progress towards what you said you want to do? And that's really where you can make the biggest difference. So make sure you look at your actual activity. In the first 60 days of 2014, are your actions showing the priority level that you've wanted to move forward? Now, this is also important to make sure that your activity plan is in writing. I stress this at the Marketing Mastery Seminar, and I talk about making sure you put together a year-long game plan. And yet a lot of agents don't really take the time to put down that plan and have it in writing. The great thing about it is when you have it in writing, you can really understand your ratios. You can understand, if I do these activities, here's the results that I'm going to get. Here's the ratio of results. Now, the great thing about this is that it's so simple to understand. Whatever you do will get a consistent ratio of results. And once a ratio starts, it tends to continue. Now, the great thing is that you can improve your ratios over time. You know, let's say you're following up with expireds. You've been following the expired or for sale banner program. You know, you mail out 5 a day, and you mail things out there, and now 2 or 3 weeks in, you're calling up and following up. Now, the first few calls you make, maybe you get 1 out of 10 people to agree to talk to you. And now you go on 2 or 3 meetings, and you only get 1 out of 3. But now, as you still make those calls, as you get better, your conversation, your fear becomes less. You get better, pretty soon you'll find that, gosh, instead of 1 out of 10, I'm getting 3 out of 10. And now you keep getting better, you keep working at it. Then you get 6 out of 10. And eventually you'll say, gosh, I'm getting 8 out of 10 people to agree to meet with me. And now when I go meet with me, I'm getting 80% of them to list with me. See, you can get a ratio of results, but here's why it's important to understand your ratios. If you understand your ratios, you can compete. Let's say you're a great salesperson, and you're so good, for every 10 people you talk to, you get 9 of them. And so you go out through the month, and every month you're talking to 10 people, you get 9 of them to buy, sell, list with you. Let's say I come into real estate and I'm brand new. See, I can compete with you even if I'm brand new. Even though I don't have the skill set, I can do it just out of understanding my ratios. Let's say I'm so poor, I only get 1 out of 10. You get 9 out of 10, I get 1 out of 10. Let me tell you, I'll still beat you. Because in the month where you talk to 10 people, I'm going to go talk to 100. And you're going to get 9 out of 10, and I'm going to get 10 out of 100. Now, when you're new, you make up for what you lack in skills in just activity, in persistence and learning. And now, once you understand the ratio, you say, gosh, I'm getting 1 out of 10. That person over there is getting 9 out of 10. So what are they doing differently? And now you can start really working to improve. And this is how you make progress. This is how you start getting better so that your ratios work. But if you aren't tracking them, pretty soon you'll just say, well, I'm doing okay. And you'll feel like you're doing okay, but you aren't quite the best. And I want you to think about it. We've been watching the Olympics, and think about the difference between 3rd and 4th place. See, we celebrate 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. 4th through the rest are just also-rans. The difference in rewards, in economic payback, is absolutely phenomenally different if you're in that top three. And I want you to realize you need to make sure that your ratios are getting you where you want to go. So as an agent, ask yourself, what are your ratios for sending out your brochures? For every 1,000 brochures, how many leads are you getting back? And then you can break it down. If I send out brochures to this group, here's my ratios. This group, here's my ratios. For my power cards, I send out how many of them a month? What's my ratio? What's the return? How many calls am I getting? How many listings am I taking? For doing expireds, for my Facebook ads, what's the exposure? What's the click-through rate? What's my landing page results? And this makes a huge difference overall. And somehow my lights just went out, which was a sort of a strange thing. Sort of a strange thing. I think I had a circuit breaker pop there. So what you want to do is look at the results you're getting in every single thing that you're doing. For your landing pages, for your Facebook ads, you say how many people are seeing it, how many are clicking through. Now when I get to that landing page, how many people are responding? Then, of the people that respond, my follow-up program, the letters, the follow-up, what's the ratio of results for sending out my special reports? And this has such a huge impact for your direct mail to your past clients, your sphere of influence. Check your ratios, and now you can say, gosh, here's where I'm getting the best results. Let me make sure I'm working on it. And if you find something, you say, well, gosh, my YouTube videos aren't getting that many views. Now you say, well, gosh, I look at Bob Sokoler, and he's averaging, 3,000, 4,000 views for every one of his listing videos. What's he doing differently? How can I improve my ratios so that now I'm driving things to me more effectively? So I want you to look at every single thing you're doing and say, what are the ratios? This is where you're going to find your highest dollar productive use of your time. And it will make such a huge difference. If you look at your ratios, look at your goals, it's easy to say, am I on track? And, it's so simple. I'm amazed so many people work hard and they put together their personal prospecting brochure. But then they go, oh, that's it. I've completed it. But then they aren't passing them out consistently. And I really want you to ask yourself, are you sending out 1,000 of your brochures every month? A few years ago, I was up in Santa Barbara. And my wife went up there for a weekend and ran into one of our clients on the street. And he said, Greg, I need to talk to you. He said, my marketing isn't working. Can you give me a call? So a couple days later, I called him up and said, tell me what's going on. He said, well, this last year, my business has been slowing down, and I don't quite understand why. The marketplace is getting better, and, my business is slowing down. And as we started talking, I said, well, what are you doing differently? He said, well, I don't think I'm doing any differently. I said, well, when people call you, you get an up call. What do you do? He said, well, I send him a letter. I said, well, you're sending a brochure. He said, well, not anymore. I said, well, why not? He said, well, my pictures are a little old, and I need to update them, so I've only got a few brochures left, so I just saved those for my pre-listing packages, and I've stopped sending them out everywhere else. I said, well, when did this start? He said, well, about a year ago. I said, so it's been taking you about a year, and you need to update your pictures, and you're a little embarrassed that you haven't, and you're trying to lose a little weight, so you're postponing it, and you're wondering why your marketing isn't going down because you've stopped sending out what's been working for you. And yet I see this consistently. It seems so amazing, and yet I see agents don't do the necessary little things to make their success. So think about the power cards you're sending out. How many are you sending out to each month? To your farm area, your past clients, each group that you need to be sending out? Are you doing your Facebook advertising? Using the special reports that you got at the seminar and running them to landing pages? Are you promoting your open houses and getting great response from those? Are you doing all those little things? Are you following the expired program? You know, I will tell you, I've seen so many agents struggling financially, and if they just start every day farming 5 expireds, 5 past clients, 5 friends, 10 people in your niche, and you just mail out your brochures to these people every day, 5 days a week, within a matter of months, you will be doing very well in real estate. It's every time. And yet I see people resist this. And I want you to make sure that you're taking that progress. You're just doing the little things. And, you know, if you don't do these things, and you wonder, well, gosh, why am I not doing better? Why am I not making, my goals, my objectives? It's simple. You aren't doing the basics, the simple little things. And yes, sometimes you're going to get some complaints. Sometimes people are going to say no. And it's okay. So what you want to do is just keep moving forward. I love the success that Tony's had using the expired program out there. And I know the sound on the video doesn't play through these effectively on these webinars, but here's Tony talking about just using his little program. And I love it because it's not sophisticated. It's not hard or complicated. He just does the things that are basically necessary. And if you take a look at it, notice that he doesn't have a sophisticated computerized program. It's just a little book. Here's the expired. I take 5 new ones every day. I take 5 forced spouse owners every day. And now he has a system. He says, this is what I'm going to mail to them. I have it ready to go, and I have an execute plan, and it's worked incredibly well. So let me ask you this. If you showed me your activity plan for the next 3 months and said, here's what I'm going to do. Here's the activity I'm going to do. Here's the mailings I'm going to do. Here's the brochures I'm going to send out. Here's the ads I'm going to run. Here's the landing page I've got in places. And here's my basic ratios. Here's the results I'm getting from all of these. Would I be totally impressed with your plan for the next 3 months? So you don't have to worry about the next year. Just, gosh, look at the next 3 months. Or even the next month. Would I be blown away and say, oh my goodness, if you do this for the next month, if you do every one of these activities, your plan for the next month is guaranteed to produce great results. Now, it may not produce results that are going to pay you income this month, but next month, the month after, let me tell you, you're going to have closings that are going to produce the income. So now get focused and say, gosh, what's the next 3 months? What's the next month? Which brings me to, gosh, what are the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks? What am I going to be doing next week to make sure my monthly plan becomes a reality? Which brings me to, what do I need to do today to be part of this program? Now, get excited about what you can do today and the impact you can have on your future. If you say, well, gosh, Greg, I haven't even completed my brochure, then get excited about filling out your questionnaire. Get excited about taking your pictures. Get excited about working on your ad. Get excited about creating a landing page. Get excited about the little things you can do today that will make progress towards where you need to go. This can make a huge difference. And get excited about the real estate market. Let me tell you, I am so excited about the next 5 years. Most importantly, get excited about serving people. Maslow wrote a couple of great books about self-actualization. But one of the things that he said is that most people, when they get into adulthood, he says they're in that stage where, it's all about them. It's so self-centered. They're egotistically driven. And it's all about me. It's like the world revolves around us. He says finally they get a little maturity and they get into what he calls the warrior stage. And he says this is where the warrior goes out there and they do battle. They conquer, they get better, they improve. But it's still about them and what they can accomplish. He says for some people, they get stuck in the stage and never get beyond it. He said, now, a lot of people can make that transition to the next level where they look at it and say, gosh, you know what? We're all connected. It's not just about me, it's about what I can do. And they take that level and that jump to what I call the focus of service. How many people can I serve? How many people can I help? What can I do to make a difference? And this is where I think true maturity, true self-fulfillment, and the highest level of productivity comes. When your focus is not what you're getting, but what you're giving, who you're serving, how you're helping. And this can make such a huge difference. Let me tell you, the last 4 or 5 years have been challenging. We've seen people struggle with their real estate investments. We helped people buy houses that went underwater. And I think we all have what I call that residual guilt from the recession. Because, gosh, in some ways, we feel like we are responsible, but we've got to get beyond that. So we'll understand that the marketplace is changing. In 2010, 58% of the home purchases were first-time buyers. And that's a terrible percentage. Now, the reason that was happening is that by 2010, it would become more expensive to rent than buy. And even though everybody else was holding back in the marketplace, and in 2010, 31% of the marketplace was investors, and they were buying all cash, snapping up all these great deals. That left only 11% to be what I call normal buyers, move-up buyers. Buyers move because of work, the typical things. But today, the marketplace is much better. In the last 3 years, look at how much better it is. Still, a little bit high percentage of first-time buyers. Ideally, first-time buyers should be between 25 and 30% of the marketplace. Investors are still a little high, 19% of the marketplace. Ideally, they should be 10 to 15% of the marketplace. But we have 43% normal buyers, and I want you to realize that this is going to make a huge difference. And this should all be 2013. Somehow I realized I forgot to put the 2013 on there, so ignore the numbers on there. But now in 2014, we're going to have a much better marketplace. 66% of the people, normal buyers, the move-up buyers, the people that are going to make a huge difference for us. So we want to capitalize on this opportunity. But now's the time to put your appointments into play. Put your plan into place to take advantage of it. Now, remember that first-time buyers are still a significant part of the marketplace. And the reason they're buying is that it's cheaper to buy than rent in 120 cities in North America. And so we need to help first-time home buyers understand that. So target people that are renting and do some mailings to them. Now, as an agent, the best way to help a first-time home buyer is understand the value of home ownership. But make sure that you, as an agent, truly believe in the value of home ownership. Do your research and get over your PTRD. Because this is so important. If you don't believe at a core level that it's better for people to buy real estate than rent it, it's hard to really help them. It's hard to create a great marketing. So do the research. Go to, the National Association of Realtors online resource. Realtor.org has so much information out there, and it talks about the social benefits of home ownership. Not beyond just the investment value of real estate. You have so many great values. Higher incidence of membership in voluntary organization, greater social capital generated, lower teen pregnancy of cheap people living in homes versus people that rent. Higher test scores for your kids. There are huge advantages both to the individual people and our society as a whole for home ownership. But we have to internalize this and truly believe it. Now we can create some marketing that we may target to people. Top 5 reasons why you should buy your first home now. And now send this into apartment complexes. Target the renters in an area. And this can be incredibly effective at helping you tap into that first-time homebuyer marketplace and really provide value and service to them. Now, I know some agents say, well, Greg, I don't like working with first-time home buyers. You have to handhold, you have to educate them. They take a lot more work. I understand that. But I also believe you're providing a great value, a great service. And so be willing to serve those people in your marketplace. Now, for the investors, remember that investors are focused on the return on investment. And look at how to make sure that you can communicate to them effectively if that is your target marketplace. More millionaires have been created by investing in real estate than stocks. And to me, this is why I believe in real estate as an investment so deeply. Yes, we've all lost money in the recession in real estate. But if we keep holding on to it, it'll come back. And that's the great thing about real estate. They aren't making any more of it. We also have a tremendous undersupply of housing in the United States. We are going to have a housing shortage for at least the next 5 years. They estimate that we need 16 million new housing units built in the United States over the next 5 years. And in 2014, we're going to build about 700,000. So we're not even coming close. Now, I do believe that we're going to see a huge ramp up in building. And the great thing is this is going to drive the economy. Building is going to create a whole bunch more jobs. That's going to drive unemployment down. This is going to help the whole cycle moving up. But now is the time to capitalize on it. Now, I also want to think about the normal buyers. This is going to become the vast majority of the marketplace. 66% in 2014, probably 75% of the marketplace next year. What are normal buyers looking for? They're looking for more space, less space. They're having kids, their kids are gone. So people moving up in the family cycle, people, empty nesters moving out. They're also looking for better schools. I will tell you, schools are critically important. This has always been historical in real estate. The recession has changed some of that a little bit. In fact, one of the interesting studies I recently read shows that a lot of people that would have liked to move into a better area or a different area when they started having kids in the recession didn't, because they couldn't afford it. And so what they did was they figured out how to stay where they were, but to either homeschool or put their kids into private school. And the research seems to indicate that private schools over the last recession have had a huge increase in membership, driven primarily because people couldn't feel like they could afford to move to a better school location. So schools are going to be a very important issue to deal with in your marketing, talk about. This could be very important in a landing page, targeting the people that are really concerned about this. Can be some great ads on Facebook, follow-up. This can really be effective if you think this through. Then prestige. The prestige market is going to be coming back as, gosh, I'm being promoted, we have more disposable income, and prestige will become more important, and it's going to drive the marketplace. Also, as the job marketplace comes back, people are going to start moving again because of their career. And remember that from 1990 to 2005, in America, people moved every 4.8 years. From 2006 to the beginning of 2014, they moved on average once every 9 years. That's less than half. So, it's really slowed down, but they really want to go back. And we're going to see it come back to more, 5-6 years. And this is going to be great for the real estate marketplace. We have a lot of pent-up demand to move, and we have to help release it. And as real estate agents, if we do this well, we can capitalize on it, help a lot of people, and in the process, take care of our families, create investments. So a couple of things. First of all, ask yourself, how can I make sure that I help enough people get what they want? They want the value of owning a home, of having their kids in a school system that they care about. And if you help enough people get what they want, if you truly focus on giving, you will get everything you want in the process. I think a life of service is so critically valuable. Now, remember this is a battle. And you've got to get serious about it. The battle is on between good and evil, communism and capitalism, sickness and health, rich and poor, happy and sad, your wealth plan, your retirement plan. I have found that health is always hanging out around the edges of your plan. Sickness is always there, trying to creep in. You don't do your exercise, you don't eat right, and sure enough, sickness is there. And I want you to realize you've got to get vigilant about everything you're doing. This is the time to also put into place your investment plan for the next 5 years. As a real estate agent, 5 years from now, you've got to say, gosh, not only do I need to make money in real estate, I need to invest money in real estate. What is your investment plan for the next 5 years? If you plan this right, you can make sure the next 5-10 years set you up for the rest of your life, no matter what goes on in the future. But you've got to get serious about it. Remember, this is a push-shove world between success and failure. See, there is no reason why everyone in North America can't become wealthy by age 50. I mean, there's no reason. Here's the simple thing. At 18, when you graduate from high school, if you just start saving $5 a day, $5 a day, and you invest it reasonably, 4-6% interest rates, nothing huge, just reasonable, consistent, $5 a day. You do that for the next 30 years, you're a multimillionaire. Now, if you're in your 40s or 50s, and your kids say, hey, Mom, Dad, are we millionaires? And you say, well, no, we aren't really millionaires. They're going to say, why not? Didn't you learn the $5 a day plan? Now, if you go to college, I understand it's going to cost some money, but once you graduate from college, what you need to do is understand you've lost 4 years, so now you've got to save $10 a day. And if you do that for the next 25 years, you'll be a multimillionaire. See, it's that simple. So the question is, not only what are you going to make in the next year, what are you going to invest in real estate, what are you going to do for your real estate career to set up for your family, to take care of them? I mean, to me, this is where it becomes so important. This is truly a push-shove world. You've got to make sure that you're taking and planning for your long-term investment. If you're planning on the government taking care of you, you're going to be sorely disappointed. Social Security benefits are going to be going down, not up. I'm always amazed at this. Only 5% of the people in America, when they reach retirement age, are able to live totally on their own resources. 5%. Another 5% need a little help. They can survive pretty nicely with, Social Security. But 95% or 90% of people, lifestyle goes down significantly once they retire. That's when you should be able to enjoy your life. So now start planning. Get serious about defining your philosophy of life. What is really important to you? What do you want to get looking back at and say, guys, this is where I made the biggest difference? Get serious about defining your vision for your life, your career. And this will make such a huge difference if you will make progress at this. Now, I really want you to think about this because it is the end of February. We're 1/6 of the way through the year. And you've got to ask yourself, am I moving forward and making progress? What I'd like to do right now is open it up to questions about anything I've talked to you about. First of all, I want to make sure that this makes sense. So I'd love to have your comments here. And I see some comments that you can hear me, and I'm going to get rid of those. And there is some background noise. All right. Somebody is talking on a phone. Hopefully we got rid of all those things. Okay. So, I see a question that says, what is pinning? Pinning is pinning boards on Pinterest. So if you go to Pinterest.com and set up an account, you can pin graphic images. And I really believe you should set up a board for every one of your listings. You should also create a board for all of your listing videos and pin those. Pinterest is a great tool because not only can you pin things, you can create a link back to your website, a landing page. And Pinterest users are conditioned to click through and take a next action step. And that's the great thing about Pinterest. I really think it's becoming more and more powerful. In fact, I've been working on a new Pinterest webinar, and I will tell you, the agents that really are mastering this medium are doing incredibly well. So the next question is, I haven't read the entire 90-day plan you have, but this is the one we should start with. I'm getting a brochure done and want to know if that should be my activity plan. Yes, if you're just completing your brochure, follow the 90-day plan. Now, the 90-day plan starts by sending out your brochure to your friends, family, sphere of influence, and then it has a variety of things for you to do so that you're consistently getting in the habit of sending them out. Now, one of the things that I want you to do is once you get to the end of the 90 days, except sending it out to your friends and family, again, every 90 days, everything else you should be doing on a consistent, regular basis. And now you just repeat that over and over again, and it will do so incredibly well for you. All right. And I just got a question about the 90-day plan. Hopefully, Julian, I answered that for you. Getting buyers only. What do you put on power cards when ads are done? And so I'm a little confused by the question, Tanya. Your power cards, again, can be just listed, just sold. They can be a direct response call to action. They can be an offer for a special report. They are incredibly flexible. So the key is when you're creating a power card, you have to ask yourself, what's the action I want people to do? Now, a lot of your power cards is going to be the repetition, but you want to also now drive them to a landing page where they can get a special report. Maybe it's your website. Maybe you get them to call you. There's all kinds of things you can do. And then you want to think, gosh, what's the mix of things providing information about just listed, just sold, and calls to action that I'm going to interchange over that? How much do I need to push and shove? And the answer is, how successful do you want to become? The more you want to push, the more you want to go, the better off you're going to be. The next question is, how many people view your pins? And it varies depending upon how active you are on Pinterest. The more followers you have, the more instantly you're going to get exposure. But then remember that people repin consistently over time. And so what I found is that for every follower you have, you'll probably end up getting probably 2 to 3 times that amount to actually view your pins. And these can go and spread sort of virally out. That's the great thing about Pinterest, is that it's not the same way as Facebook, where only a small percentage of the people that you're friends with see your posts. Pinterest is actually more viral. You can also use hashtags on Pinterest. And one of the most popular hashtags is home decor. And now put your listings on there. A couple of quick tips about Pinterest. If you have a listing on Pinterest, remember this is a visual medium, so you want to have a picture of a house there, make sure on that you either have a price or at the corner put in home for sale. So now as people are looking at the house, they understand, oh, this is a listing as well. I see a lot of people that don't do that on Pinterest and they lose a lot of opportunities. Now you're going to link that back to your website so they can find out more information about that particular house. All right, Jillian, thank you. I appreciate your comment. I'm experiencing about one listing appointment every 15 calls. I'm getting about 4 or 5 of those listing appointments. Is it completely a result of the mail? It is a completely a result of the mail outs. What other statistics have you heard from other realtors that are doing your program, like Tony in Sky Realty? Well, It varies depending upon each person, their segment of the marketplace. But what I would say is that the ratio I would be most concerned about yours is if you're getting one listing appointment out of every 15 calls, that one could be improved. Now, if you're getting 4 out of 5 listings, depending upon why you're losing them, to me, that's probably not a bad thing to do, is to walk away from listings that aren't perfect listings for you. But that all sounds good, and I would say you're right on track that way. I would try and get out of every call that you have coming in, you want to get at least, 1 out of 10, maybe 1 out of 5 of those to turn into a listing appointment. Now, so look at that, what you're doing, or look at those and say, am I putting them to a follow-up program so that now I turn that into an appointment, maybe not today, but now 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And in your mailing programs, you'll get a lot of people that are early in that process. So make sure that you have that great follow-up program once they've called you to convert those. The question is, after I submit the questionnaire, how long until a creative writer will contact me? It should be about 2 weeks. It varies a little bit depending upon how many we get in each and every time. So as soon as you send it in, we'll be in touch with you and get everything going. All right. Thank you, Jillian. Expired listings, do you recommend the 10 mailing plan or just the letter from how to generate the 10 transactions in 90 days? And the answer is yes. The 10 mailing plan will work the best. It will get the most consistent results, but it also requires the most complete follow-up system. You've just got to be good at executing it. And sometimes I found I can't get people to execute the program. It drives me crazy. And then just use the expired letter. Now, if you're only going to use the expired letter and the brochure prospecting plan, then remember that you need to add more expireds to it. So you can make it up in quantity or consistency. And either one will work for you. The 10 mailing program, and once you get that up and running, that's why I recommend a high school student, somebody to execute that for you. It'll work just well. All right, Tanya, I'm sure Chris will be great to hear that you've got your reports coming. All right. I get so confused because there's so much we can do to promote ourselves. What would you say are the priorities? And this is one of those things where it's, it is hard because there are so many different things. I mean, even, here at Hobbs Herder, we offer so many different things to agents. And the question is, what's the best place to get started? And it's what you can do easily and consistently. And part of it depends on your budget. So, but here's the key. Pick something. And if you say, well, gosh, here's the 10 things I like. Here's the 10 things I could do. My best suggestion is put them in a hat and pick one and start there. And once you've got that up and running, go to the next one. And the more consistently you start putting things into action, the better off you're going to be. I love Terry Peranich. When he came to my seminar way back 25 years ago, he left and he said, Greg, here's my plan. I'm going to go and put one system in place, and once I have it up and running, whether it takes me 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, I'm going to have it done. And then I'm going to go to the next. And that's exactly what he did. At the end of the first year, we talked and he said, Greg, I have 8 systems from the seminar now up and running perfectly. Could he have done more? Maybe. But what he did, he got one system up and running, got it going, and now it started making money. I think he started with his brochure, getting it out consistently. Then he started the direct mail program, started farming, using the money from the brochure to fund his farm activity. Then he went on to the next thing. And so there's no perfect right or wrong place. It's just you want to get started. What do you think about AdWorks for real estate and purchasing zip codes? I have some people that are using AdWorks and getting decent results. I actually think that you can get better results through Facebook and LinkedIn advertising at a better return. Again, the key to any of that type of advertising is creating a landing page that's really going to convert. And understand they aren't providing anything that you can't get other ways, and they're trying to create what I call a false sense of scarcity because they're selling you with supposedly an exclusive zip code. But that exclusivity doesn't really mean anything because there are so many other ways to reach those exact same people that nobody's going to be limited from. So you're buying exclusion or an exclusivity that's not really exclusive. All right, Randy. All right, great. So you're getting much better ratios than what originally I anticipated, and that's a great thing. If you're getting 1 out of 5 people, now you're right on track. That's a good ratio. You're doing the right thing. All right. The next question is, you spoke about your expired program. Isn't that the downloads? Yes. There's the expired program and For Savannah program at the download site. You can just download it, and here's a step-by-step execution program. In trying to determine your niche, is there a community that can be too large or diverse? Can this niche be nationwide niche? If so, do you mail your brochure to that community around the nation? That's a great question, Joe. And you can have a niche that's too big. I have a lot of people these days come to me and say, Greg, I really want to focus on the Hispanic marketplace. Today, that marketplace always worries me because it's too big. So within the Hispanic marketplace, I'm always looking for what particular group. Let's target an age, a particular background, the Puerto Rican Hispanic marketplace, some lifestyle within that, and you're going to be much better off. You can, though, have a nationwide or international niche. At the seminar, you remember I talked about the guy that specializes in live water properties. And if you go to livewaterproperties.com, this is a guy that specializes in selling properties that have live trout streams, and he covers 4 states. He does an amazing job. He has an international reputation, and he mails to people around the world that are interested in finding blue water trout streams in Colorado, Wyoming, Idaho, and Montana. And it's truly amazing what he's done. So it's possible. So what you have to do is say, what's the key to my niche? And again, in selecting a niche, it's your passion. It's what are you excited about that makes the best determination. And something that you're really excited about will get you the best results. Thank you, Marta. I appreciate the comment. When should the farm be phone called? And there's no real total answer to this, in that the vast majority of our clients don't typically farm or call their farm. Now, I think it can be a good idea, and I will tell you the best time to do it is probably 2 or 3 weeks after you mail out your brochure in that farming program. And if you just follow up with a gentle, hi, just wanted to touch base with you, see if there's something I can do for you. You're important to me because you're in my niche. You're in the target marketplace, and just have a conversation once a year. That can be incredibly effective. What is involved in updating our brochures, specifically updating the pictures? Well, I believe every 2 years you need to update your pictures. So if you look at it, we don't charge you anything to update your pictures, and basically it's just the cost of printing update. So just call us up. Let's get your pictures. If that's all you're updating, there's nothing else. It's just free. Do it. Now, if you need to change a little bit of text here and there, it may cost you a couple $100, but you need to make sure that you're just updating those photos so that those photos always look like you, and they're natural-looking photos. Remember, don't do glamour photos. Make the photos look like you really do when they meet you. The question is from David. And David, you know the answer to this question. What is the minimum power card mailing you should do to your sphere and farm? And absolutely minimum is 2 a month. I mean, without fail, 2 a month is minimum and 3 is better. But you got to be in front of them on a consistent, regular basis. If you drop down to 1 a month, there's something magical about that difference of seeing you a couple times a month versus once a month I forget you. So it's just critical to do that consistently. And glad to have you on the line here, David. Hope everything's going well. Love to see what's going on with the Lucas Associates. Where is the download site? So the download site is at hobbsherder.com/exclusive 2014. And if you have any questions, just drop me an email and I'll send you a link to it. But you go there, use the username and password that you got at the seminar, and you're off and running. All right, David. Way to go. I appreciate it. All right. And I see we have used up our hour, and I appreciate your questions and comments. Do me a favor. Please post your comments about this webinar on my Facebook page or send me an email. I greatly appreciate the feedback. Also, please subscribe to my personal page on Facebook. Also, I am now putting up all of the recordings of these coaching calls on Pinterest at my Pinterest pin board on, it's called Greg Herder's Monthly Coaching Webinars. So there's some of the past, and I'll be putting more of the past ones up here in the next few days. I think I've got 3 of them up there now, and I'll be posting this one in a few days. Also, I wanted to remind you, if you haven't been doing things consistently, about our wonderful Set It and Forget It program. And you can call Patrick Hustke, and this is such a wonderful program. And I don't know if Patrick is on the line here. Let's see if I can find Patrick. Patrick, are you there? Hello, Patrick? Yes. All right, so Patrick, tell us how I can. So tell us how the Set It and Forget It program works. So if they're busy buying and selling real estate, you'll take care of making sure that you're getting this stuff out there and keeping their mailing and everything else going out there. All right, so if anybody has any questions, give Patrick a call on that. And then I want to thank you for spending your time here with us. And make sure you go to HH Calls, set out the times, the monthly coaching calls every month. Hopefully you found this call valuable, a good use of your time. And every month, I try and make sure to provide value to keep moving you forward and making sure that you're making the progress towards you want to. So thank you very much for being here. Again, please post your comments, send me an email. If there's anything we can do for you, we're here to help your real estate business thrive in the years ahead. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a great day.